Hi, Steve Ladd here again, talking about the building of the Proa sailboat. And this is Pepper, the Proa sailboat. This is what's been done since the last time we talked. We can only work 6 months out of the year, and here's what is happening now. Basically, in the big picture, we're trying to get ready to put the deck on. And before we can put the deck on, everything inside has to be done, because once the deck is on, it's only got these fairly small hatches, and it'd be very difficult to kind of squeeze inside there and work inside the boat like that. So we got to get everything in there before the deck goes on. And I'm going to just walk you down this boat. I'm going to show you some stuff we've got installed, first being the electrical system. And so here we have some pretty darn cool bow lights for your running lights. These are called shark eyes. Pretty nice, huh? And that's the color it's going to be. All right. Then here we have the battery all installed. And then the wires running to the battery from the solar panel, which is not installed, are here. And they come by way of this charge controller. So this controls the charge from the solar panel. That's the input side. Now we come back to the output side of the battery, running in these lines like this, and then to a cutoff switch, and then to the main fuse panel right here. That's the main fuse panel, and things coming from that include this thing here, which is the inverter, if you want to run something that's 110 volts, and something to charge devices with, and more more circuits coming in this direction. This light here will turn on the navigation lights. This one will turn on the light that goes to the cockpit, and this turns on the light that's for this compartment. Now walking this way, you can see one of the cockpit lights right there. Walking further, there's another cockpit light right there. And now we see that one of the circuits from the other fuse box has come to here. This is a sub fuse box where that one circuit is divided up into another light there, and this switch. This switch is for that. This switch is for that cockpit light, and then this switch here is to turn the stern navigation lights on in two different ways. It has to have one light for when you're under power, another light for when you're under sail, and then the one in the middle is for neither one. That is the electrical system. Now I would next like to show you this coaming around the cockpit. The coaming is the wall that is around the cockpit. The cockpit is right here. It's not done yet. Here's a thickening, a widening around the coaming to strengthen it. It's made out of wood, which is kind of unusual. Most things on this boat are made out of foam core fiberglass. Next, I'd like to show you the mast steps. And since we're close to the mizzen, let's look at the mizzen first. These mast steps are finally done. The main components of the mast step are a sleeve here at the deck level that's made out of stainless steel. Goes down about this far, and down there's another sleeve, and the two sleeves are in a sense joined by this rubber sleeve here that's just for keeping water out. Water can get in here, and so there can be a little bit of water go down in there, but not much, and it's being held by this rubber hose. Then going into the mast step will be a stub mast. This does go down, all the way down in, and this is removable, of course, and it's not the mast itself. The mast goes into this hole. So in total, there's the mast, the stub mast, the sleeve, and then the rubber boot that keeps water out of the boat. So this is the mizzen, and now let's go to the main, and I'll show you that it's about the same. Here again is a sleeve that's attached to what's going to be the deck. There's going to be another layer of paneling here. And down at the bottom, there's another sleeve that's kind of in the form of a cup. And the cup is reinforced by those buttresses down there. And then there's the rubber hose connecting the two so water cannot get into the boat. And these two mast steps have been installed in such a manner that they are not vertical, but rather angling a little bit aft. That's just the kind of traditional look of a sailboat, is that the masts angle a little bit to the aft, and of course they are lined up with each other, and that's that. Now, one last thing. The last thing, in fact, before the deck can put on, is the hatch frames. The hatch frames are the framing around the hatches, and this boat, having lots of separate compartments, has lots of hatches. Now, there are 4 hatches that are like this. There will be 4 of these. This is a kind of hatch that goes into a frame like this. It has these cutouts so that these arms can go in here like this. And when the deck is here, these arms will be impinging on the deck. And then you screw like this so as to clamp it. So there are 4 of these, one here, and then on the stern, the last 2 compartments at the stern, there are 2 more like this. That's 4 of the hatches, and they're done. Then there are another hatch here. By the way, this is an example of the material that the hatches are being made of. This frame piece will be bridging the gap from here to here. There will be another one from here to here, and then some transverse ones for the purpose of delineating this main hatch. This is the biggest single hatch. It's going to be about this big. And then there will be another hatch back here, actually 2. This compartment, this was a false start. Having built this, I'm going to tear most of this out, and I'm going to build frames and for 2 more hatches back here, each like this. 2 hatches of this size that are going to open on hinges in an outward direction like that. Those are the hatches. There's one other thing called the partial partitions. Here are some examples of partial partitions. The purpose of the partial partitions is that if we look at a compartment in which they have not yet been installed, you see that there is the main depth of the hull there, but then there's these, I call them the bulge outs, and if you put something here, they'll tend to just fall into there. So the purpose of the partial partitions, here they have been installed, is that when you put something here, that gives you a secure place to put something without it falling down inside. So you'll have a storage area there, storage area there, and a storage area there. These partial partitions are semi-permanent. They are to be bonded in place just with little tack welds, you might say, of epoxy that you can come in, you can insert a saw blade here and cut out that tack. You can cut out that tack so you can always remove it if you want to. That is what we've got done. The next thing is to finish these hatch frames and start putting on the decks. Once we put on the decks, we can proceed with some things that got started a long time ago. The rudder and the steering equipment, that's the rudder and its connection to the tiller. All that had to kind of be in a state of incompletion for several years now while we got to get to this finishing of the deck. And so that's my installment at this time in August of 2024. Thank you.